This is my test rig setup out of the trunk of my car, and in this video I'm going to show you how I buy and sell computer parts without the need to go into anybody's house, their garage, a coffee shop, or anything like that, because I can power and run everything all right here. So let's check it out. This segment of the video is brought to you by Ugreen and their new Nexo 300 watt multi-port GAN charger. Equipped with a total of 5 ports, you can fast charge all your high-powered devices simultaneously with a single charger. As a tech nerd and content creator, I have a ton of devices I'm constantly charging. Camera batteries, lights, power banks, tablet, phone, you name it. I have to admit, I've kind of been sleeping on GAN chargers for the longest time. I would just use whatever random charging bricks that we had laying around the house, but as you can probably guess, these do not have fast charging capabilities and are not PD or power delivery rated. So not only do they charge things like my phone and tablet at slower rates, they can't even charge some of my more power hungry devices like my mirrorless camera or my laptop at all. These require PD charging at specified wattages, and the Nexo 300 watt can deliver it. In the most extreme cases, this can even charge 3 laptops simultaneously. Now, that's an extreme example. Not many people have 3 laptops that they need to charge at the same time, but maybe you have one laptop, a handheld console, tablet, phone, and a camera. No problem, the Nexo's got you covered. You can find the Nexo 300 watt charger and other Ugreen products in the description of this video down below. Thanks Ugreen for sponsoring this segment of the video, and now let's get back to it. So the reason I'm in this wide open parking lot is because I wanted to emphasize the fact that I'm not near any outlets of any sort. As you saw when I zoomed out of my car, there's no wires or cords running to the car. Everything is running from right here. I chose the Kohl's parking lot because this is what Kohl's parking lots always look like. I don't know why they have such big parking spaces. Not that many people are ever going into Kohl's at one time, so yeah, but I'm going to show you everything that's a part of my setup, and I'm going to be using my GoPro as well for first person view, just because I don't have a camera person to be able to bring you in and out. So this will give you the first person view to kind of help you see some of the things in my setup. So yeah, let's get started. Here we have in this tub, this is just a Home Depot tub. This is HDX, a Home Depot brand. But this is just a tote that's big enough to carry basically my UPS, the uninterruptible power supply. So this is an APC unit. This is a 1500 VA 900 watt unit. There are calculators as to how long you could run this for, depending on how big or how large of a system that you have on it, how much power draw. So I'm actually gonna turn it on right now. People mostly use these UPSs for at home. When the power goes out, then they have X amount of minutes to be able to shut down and to save their documents before their computer shuts off. That's also what I use mine for as well, but because I also like to do like part hunting and testing stuff, I pull it from that to do whenever I go pick up parts or a PC. This does show you the estimated time in minutes, depending on what you have plugged in. It's also able to show you whatever load you have on the UPSs. So whatever you have plugged in, it will show you how many watts you're drawing. So on the back side of the UPS here, I'll show you, I only have one thing plugged in. So this is the cord to plug it into the wall so that it could be continuously charged up when you do have power, but it is unplugged right now because I'm not at home, and I only have one cord coming off of it, and this is going to the computer. So that's the UPS. Now, there are other ways to be able to power through something like an inverter, and what you do there is you hook up to your car battery and you use your car battery as a power source. I personally don't like that solution because I don't want to ever be put into a spot where after I'm done testing, my car battery is drained to the point where it's dead. It is cheaper to get an inverter, but I like the UPS solution because I already have it on hand because I use it at home in my own personal setup for when the power goes out. And the power does go out in the Pacific Northwest, you know, every once in a while. So I already have one that has multi-uses, whereas an inverter is only really good for use in the car. But within this tote, I also usually bring a little goodie bag, stuff that I might need on the fly. This is for if I'm testing like a CPU or something, rubbing alcohol, a cloth to wipe it away. And I think the most important thing is just have a screwdriver in case you need to take anything apart. You could put as many or as little tools as you want, but when you go to meet somebody, you want to be as prepared and have as much stuff on hand as possible so that you aren't missing anything and you have to run home. This is all usually in the tote. Like I have the keyboard, mouse, the monitor and all that. That's on here so that I can have one nice compact way to carry everything, and then I put this micro ATX tower on top. So it's not that much to carry around to get it in and out of my car. This just makes it all nice and compact. So moving on from the power supply, let's go on to the desktop computer. I mostly buy parts, and with something like this, you can test almost every single part that goes into a PC with the exception of the motherboard and the CPU, depending on compatibility. So if I were to buy a specific CPU, I would want to bring a compatible motherboard, you know, in this system. But for the most part, like this, just given the CPU and motherboard I have in there, I could test SSDs, I could test RAM, I could test graphics cards, I could test power supplies. Pretty much the CPU and the motherboard is the only thing that's very specific to compatibility. Everything else is almost universal. So I like to keep it all in this very compact case. This is a Sama S88. I used it in one of my PC builds, but the cool thing about it is it has a handle, so it makes it very portable and easy for me to carry around. Smaller footprint. I'm not working with a lot of space here in the back of my trunk, so the smaller everything is, the better. So the next part of the setup is the mouse and keyboard. I chose specifically a wireless keyboard and mouse because I don't want to deal with extra cables. These two go to one single dongle, so that gets plugged in the back here, and there's just less of wires and a mess and tangle and stuff like that. It just makes it way easier to use, and it keeps it clutter-free here. And the reason I chose pink is because you can spot this from a mile away. Sometimes in my basement studio it gets kind of hectic and messy and I misplace stuff, but it's really hard to misplace a bright pink mouse and keyboard like this. I can always spot it no matter if it's hidden under stuff or far away. So after the mouse and keyboard, I have a portable USB monitor. If you have not used one of these yet, man, this is even useful outside of a car setup. But this is a 15.6 inch Pixio PX160. It is powered via USB, so you plug it for the power source into the computer, and then it uses mini HDMI to HDMI for the video signal. I could use a full-size monitor if I wanted, because there's multiple outlets on my UPS. I could just plug in the monitor for the power source. But for a full-size, you know, let's say 24-inch or 27-inch monitor, that's just way too big of a footprint, and that takes up too much space. Again, we're working with pretty tight space back here in the hatchback trunk of my Toyota Yaris. So anything I could reduce the size of, I did. So 15.6 inch is plenty for me to see. And again, the wires, I only need one thing running to the UPS. Everything else, the keyboard, the mouse, the monitor, the computer powers it from that. It makes it way more simple because you don't need to have a whole bunch of cables and cords coming everywhere. So now I'm gonna show how this is all powered on. So I go to the UPS and make sure it is on, which it is, and then we could turn on the system. Flip the switch here and turn this on. So now as that's powering on, you can see this monitor turn on. We're into the system and we're pretty much good to go. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is if you are testing stuff like graphics cards or anything like that, you want to have the drivers pre-installed, because you're not going to have internet out here unless you have a Wi-Fi adapter with like mobile hotspotting or something like that. So what you want to do is, let's say you're buying an AMD graphics card, look up that specific driver and pre-install it. You want all your benchmarking programs not relying on the internet. So that's why I use like Unigine Superposition, Cinebench, and things like that, because it could be pre-installed and not require internet to use. And in terms of how long this lasts, I think, so right now the system's sitting at idle, it's only pulling 63 watts. So based on that, if I'm not running anything heavy, it can run for, I think that's like over an hour on idle. But if I am testing some program that's stressing the CPU or the graphics card, and at that point I'll have about 20 to 30 minutes based on the UPS that I got. All right, we're in the new spot. The next most empty parking lot I can think of, the cinemas. During the daytime when nobody is here. So when I go to test, let's say the graphics card, I have all my MSI Afterburner overlays and everything set up so I can see all the stats. So let me just run the benchmark. So GPU is pretty much, it's close to full load. Yeah, now it is 99%. The CPU is not doing much in this test, and this system is pulling about 160 watts according to this. Even if I had a graphics card that was 3 times as powerful, it would probably be reading around 400, maybe 500. Even my own personal system from the wall doesn't draw up to 500 watts. But yeah, this is it working, again, all out of the trunk. And the nice thing about this UPS is that it does have an indicator as to how long or what the battery level is. And let me see if I can bring back up. The load is 17% of the full load that it can handle. And then the estimated runtime based on right now this system running the benchmark, not when it's at idle, it's at 36 minutes according to this. So yeah, that is the UPS. All right, so I'm gonna shut down now and then give some closing thoughts to the video. And I'll show you the process of me putting everything away so that it is nice and tidy and it's really easy to carry around. So all this just goes inside the little tote here. Make sure to unplug everything so that it doesn't, you know, get bent or damaged when the car is moving. And then this just closes up. And then this system, when I'm carrying it around, I just lay it on top. So because this tote has handles, I can just carry everything all at once like this. But when it's in the car, I usually lay it down. If you're driving around, take out the graphics card. And this can go right in here. Go nicely in here. And there you have it. A mobile testing station. So I do want to close with a couple of things that I did write down to address. So I've had some comments on the other videos where I test parts, and some of you might be asking this or thinking this in your head right now, like, why even go through the hassle of doing all of this, right? Like, you guys probably have bought and sold hardware numerous times without even doing this, and it worked out just fine. You never had a broken or dead part or anything like that. And you know what? I kind of agree with you on that one. I only started doing this a couple of years ago, and prior to this, that's how I did all my dealings, without testing. You just kind of trusted the person, and then that was that. But I do have to say though that in all my dealings that I have used this mobile test station, when I ask people to test, I have never had one seller become annoyed or like rushed on time or was like, why are you even doing this? It works. I've never had an issue. If anything, anyone that I have shown this to, they think it's really cool and they ask questions about it. And I've even had multiple people tell me that they appreciate the fact that I am being thorough, because I'm not gonna go back to them should the graphics card die for whatever reason and blame them for selling me a dud part. I tested it, it worked when we were both there together, and when I leave, that's the deal. Anything that happens, it's in my hands. So some sellers have told me that they appreciated it, and you know, I am a content creator, so this may seem like a hassle, but for me, this is fun. I enjoy doing it, and it makes for fun content for you guys to see. So I've made some pretty popular videos that people love watching. They love seeing these interactions and what types of deals like occur out there and what some of these sellers or buyers are like. So yeah, for me, it's like a win-win-win situation. That leads me to my question of the video, and that is, have you guys ever bought or sold any hardware where it ended up having problems shortly after? So if you were the buyer, you know, because you couldn't test it out, you took it home, it was either DOA or it had problems soon after you plugged it in and started using it. Or as a seller, have you ever had a buyer buy something from you and then, you know, the same day or maybe a couple of days or a week later, they say, hey, there's a problem with this. I want my money back. I'm very curious because I have heard those stories before, but I want to see in the comments of this video for the people out there who have, you know, had that happen. And if you've, you know, done hundreds of transactions and you've never had a problem buying or selling, let me know in the comments as well, just because I want to see a good distribution of answers. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and found this either helpful or entertaining or useful in one way or another. I look forward to reading your comments to my question down in the comment section below. Also, let me know down there any other thoughts that you have regarding my test setup. Do you have any suggestions? I'm always, you know, looking to improve if there are ways to improve. But yeah, that's it for me. I want to thank you all as always for watching and for continuing to support the channel. Thank you to the channel members and the super gifters as always for their above and beyond support. Be safe out there, and I will see you all down in the comments as well as the next video and or stream. Bye.